Hi everyone, Olivia Reiner here for Packers News, joined by Ryan Wood and TGIF guys. It is Friday. Hopefully wherever you are looking forward to a great weekend, a weekend that will be filled with Packers football. And for us, it'll be a weekend of warmth, hopefully, as we escape the cold weather. As you can see, I have gloves today. Ryan, you were not here with us on the live stream yesterday. My hands were bright red by the end of our live stream.
That red right there?
Like maybe this shade. So I have gloves. They are.
Gloves. You're missing one.
I'm gonna pull up Facebook right now. Hello guys, if you're over on Facebook, guys and gals, not to be exclusionary of anybody. Hello over there. Hello to Periscope and YouTube as well. As per usual, I will be pulling up Facebook on my phone and taking a look at the chat and interacting with some of you guys on this lovely, somewhat freezing cold Friday. It's colder than it was yesterday. Not a fan.
I'm decidedly not warm.
No, not at all. Not at all. But usually before...
It's windy. The wind is what kills you.
I'm pulling up Facebook this time around first, guys, so I can stick my hand back in my glove and I don't have to keep it out because it is a little chilly. And we like to wait for you, some of you guys to get in the comments. Okay.
Now you have gloves.
Gloves going on. Doing this with one hand. I'm a pro. Great. I'm going to find my touchscreen gloves. I do not know where they went. Yesterday, my other pair of mittens, I left them out here on, I guess I left them out here on Wednesday, and it rained yesterday.
Oh, no.
So they're all water soaked. Yuck. It's a bad situation. All right, so let's get into these Facebook comments, and we have an injury comment right off the bat. I apologize, your name went away, and I can't scroll up in these mittens. So let's talk about Cole Madison, why don't we? So there was only one person missing from Packers practice today, and that was Cole Madison. So he was DNP yesterday with a knee injury, and that is because he has a pretty serious injury per Matt LaFleur. And I believe there was an NFL Network report that he tore his ACL. I don't think we have confirmed that report yet, but it is worth mentioning that it's a very serious injury. That's what Matt LaFleur said, and one that will likely require surgery. So bad news for Cole Madison after he missed all of last year, the year after he got drafted, took a personal year off and came back, did not get to be active for any of these games this season, but it doesn't look like he's going to have an opportunity to do that going forward.
Yeah, it's kind of a Cinderella story, to take the year off, come back to 53, so tough break for him.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Coach says prayers up for Cole. Absolutely, I'm sure he'd appreciate that. Let's see what you got. So let's see, going through some of these. I can't scroll with my fingers, so I'm missing some of them. But Eric says Rodgers using his legs is key to extending the drives against the defense. Aaron Rodgers is notorious for being able to scramble, get outside of the pocket a little bit more, and extend some plays. In this offense, it hasn't been so much of an emphasis on that as it was in the past under McCarthy. I think in the beginning of the season, I know you and I talked about this a little bit, we were not seeing Aaron Rodgers running around as much as he used to, and perhaps we thought that was just his age.
Was that when I called him slow before Philadelphia?
Yes.
Then he put on that ridiculous 14-yard run and then stared at me in the press conference after. Yeah.
So
nicely, he was nice.
Since then, he has showed that in certain moments when the opportunity calls for it, he has been able to get around and use his legs and extend some of those plays. We'll see what the San Francisco defense throws at him, but they are a defense that likes to put pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it's always important. It's a weapon an extra weapon that you have to prepare for defensively is when a guy's mobile like that. And if you look at the course of his career, Aaron Rodgers has always been, especially with moving the chains with his legs when things break down, he's been able to do that. So big games, it's important. I think back in the past, he's been able to operate without it. The 2014 season when he had the calf, he was able to, it took away part of his game, but he was able to still be effective. So because of that, I don't know if it's mandatory, but it sure is nice and helpful.
Yes, so Chris asks something interesting looking into the future here. What will the Packers do with Cole Madison's roster spot once he goes on IR, assuming that the reports are true and the severity of the injury is exactly what it is? Yes, they'll have an open roster spot that they get to work with a little bit. Where could they shore up some of the spots? I mean, you think of the middle of the defense might be a spot. They might want to try somebody else in there, but they've had a constant rotation of guys coming in? Do they need to bring up another offensive lineman? Would they look to elsewhere? Would they look into the practice squad to bring somebody up? What are the options there?
There's a lot of options that they could do. Yosh Nenjamin is the one on the practice squad that could get elevated. I don't know where his game is at. Once they go on the practice squad, they're kind of out of sight, out of mind a little bit. Darius Shepard's on the practice squad too, so if they wanted to elevate him, they could. Or they could take someone that we've never heard of from the outside. They could do that too. So it'd be a fool's errand to try to guess what Brian Gutekunst will do with that spot, but there are a lot of options for him.
Yes, yeah, Christopher saying that I remembered my gloves today. Yes, got my USA gloves on.
Meanwhile, I cannot feel my nose. I'm just putting that out there.
I'm actually going to get my fingers out and go scrolling because I keep missing you guys. Steve says he's drinking whiskey at the airport flying to San Francisco for the Packers game. So,
Steve, I envy
Steve's
you.
my guy.
Whiskey'd help right now.
Yes, my birthday is this weekend. It's tomorrow, actually, and I may be enjoying my flight to San Francisco as well. Got to celebrate a little bit on the way there.
I want to sit next to her then.
Yeah, actually, I very purposely, I think I picked a spot on the plane where there's nobody sitting next to me, so hopefully...
Live it up.
Hopefully I get a little extra leg room on the airplane. Yeah, Jared, going back to what we were talking about, that extra 53-man spot there with Cole Madison potentially going on IR. Jared asks, will the Packers finally sign another defensive lineman to help with stopping the run? I talked to Jim Wozarski about this earlier in this week during our live stream, and he was in the belief, under the impression that the Packers have everybody that they need right in that locker room to get it done. They just need to execute. What do you think about who they have along the defensive line and what they've done so far this season?
Well, they're not getting Mike Daniels back, so short of that, I think they got everyone that they need to. Yeah, I would agree with Jim on that, and it's just a matter of, the thing that if you listen to them and talk to them about especially their run defense, is it's not a physical talent deficiency. It's all mental. It's all gap scheme, integrity. It's just doing your job, and that's the frustrating thing for this defense. Is it's almost like whack-a-mole. Once one person doesn't do their job on this play, it might be someone else on another play and someone else on another play, and it's always just one person, and it alternates, and it's just one guy out of his gap or not doing his assignment, and good defensive football is about 11 guys all doing the same thing cohesively as a unit, and when it's only 10. That's what happens. And so they have the physical talent to do it. There's no question about that. It's just a matter of all 11 guys doing their job simultaneously.
I think the popular phrases in the locker room of the week have been focus and also playing your keys and sticking in your gaps and not getting distracted. And I think the San Francisco offense, just like the Packers offense aspires to be, and some of the things that they do is use that motion and that illusion of complexity and some of the misdirection to confuse the defense. And this is a week where the defense is going to have to be really disciplined in sticking with their gut and communicating and trusting what they're doing.
Now, Mike Pettin said that it should help that they went all training camp against this Packers offense, because if you turn on the 49ers, it looks, especially to the untrained eye, it looks like you're looking at the Packers offense. It's very similar. Now, it's not identical. Kyle Shanahan does a lot more subgroupings than Matt LaFleur does, but still, it's the bunch formations, the pre-snap motions, the constant mixing and matching of personnel. It's very, very similar to what they do here in Green Bay.
So I'm getting a lot of happy birthdays in the comments, so thank you guys very much. I appreciate that.
Love the comments.
I'm getting old, getting to be an old lady. A little more gray hair in my head.
Now she's just rubbing it in. No,
I'm the baby.
You can't say
I can't, because that would make everybody else
you cannot
a lot
say
older than me.
That's not. You are literally a baby.
So we had questions from Jay, and Dan's question here also falls in line with this. So Jay was asking about the Packers' plan for defending the middle of the field. Dan asks, how do they defend George Kittle, tight end who is known for abusing the middle of the field? What is the answer? This was something that Jim Wozarski and I discussed at length yesterday, and he wrote about this as well yesterday, PackersNews.com. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's a huge question mark, and if they had the answer, they wouldn't be in the position that they're in right now, where they've been letting up so many yards in the middle of the field. It's tough for guys like Blake Martinez and the slew of other guys on defense who have been playing alongside of him to be guarding sometimes 3 guys in the middle of the field, it's a little bit different than if they were outside the numbers and they were playing man-to-man. So what is their best solution in this game against San Francisco?
I'm pretty sure that in emoji form it's how do they cover George Kittle? I don't know that I have an answer. That's an issue because they have not covered tight ends well this year. And as Matt LaFleur said earlier this week, George Kittle very well might be the best one in the league right now. And he's going to play. I mean, you saw the videos. He's going to play. So, yeah, you got to probably some soft zone maybe. I mean, that's what we've seen Mike Pettin do against the Chiefs, against other skill groups that speed-wise especially, they just an athletic explosiveness that they have not matched up with is that they do that soft zone. So I guess that is going to be part of it. But, I mean, who can they put on this defense one-on-one against George Kittle? Nobody. And if they find someone, that's going to be the game story. That's what you'll be reading about it Sunday night because that would be huge if they were able to do that. I don't know who they got to do that.
Tom Silverstein suggested that perhaps they double-team him.
Some.
Yeah, but they can't do it all game, can they?
Yeah. Darnell Savage Jr. would be the most ideally suited for that, and he's a rookie. So I don't know what they do. I don't have an answer for you.
Well, Andrew has an answer. Put Jimmy Graham on him. I like that thinking there. Perhaps.
Jimmy Graham was asked today if this should be billed as the battle of the Jimmy G's. Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy Graham, and he said no. Jimmy Garoppolo's the famous one. I'm just the tall old one. That's what he said.
How times have changed for Jimmy Graham.
Right? I know.
Raleigh wants to know: are these really the two best teams in the NFC? I don't know if these are the two best teams in the NFC.
No.
I think you could throw Seattle or New Orleans in there
because neither of them are named the New Orleans Saints. They were my preseason Super Bowl pick, and I'm going to roll with them until
to it.
And, I mean, they haven't shown me anything different. They keep winning. I mean, they had that terrible, nonsensical loss at home to the Falcons in a divisional game, a divisional rivalry. Stuff happens sometimes. Otherwise, they've shown nothing to make me think any different as far as their chances of winning the NFC. So I'm sticking with my preseason pick right now.
A lot of teams in the NFC, a lot of good teams in the NFC have had some head-scratching losses, a la Packers, Chargers. That game was certainly one of those head-scratchers.
The Vikings against the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes, that's one. And the 49ers haven't yet, but, I mean, they fell behind 16-0 to the Cardinals last week, and the thing with the 49ers is their schedule is just wicked. I mean, it is
going out from here. Yeah, my goodness,
it's unreal. So I don't know how good they are. Like, they're good because you don't get to be 9-1 and not be good. We know they're good. I don't know how good. We just don't know because they play a lot of the teeth of their schedule's coming up.
Yes, it is. We've got suggestions here from Dan and Mark saying that Kevin King maybe could go against George Kittle.
No, he's
not fast enough.
No, he's plenty fast enough. He runs 4.3. He's just you got to keep those guys, him and Jair. You got to keep him on the perimeter of the field. So you got to find someone that plays the middle of the field. It's a completely different game inside. You got to find someone that plays the middle of the field to line up against. I don't think it's going to be Kevin King or Jair Alexander for that matter.
All right, we'll see what they end up doing with that.
But you got Emmanuel Sanders too. I mean, it's not like you just
there's nobody else. Yeah,
like you need your corners.
Your perimeter corners
to be your perimeter corners.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Jared asks, what do you think about Rashawn Gary playing defensive end full-time to take advantage of his skills in the run game and the pass rush? They've been playing Zadarius Smith as a defensive end.
Zadarius Smith or Rashawn Gary?
Well, now I'm talking about Zadarius Smith, but just in general, I think they've been using some of those guys interchangeably along the defensive line. It's, I think, just what Mike Pettin has been liking, using his outside linebackers all over the place. I think, could Rashawn Gary fit that mold as well?
Yeah, I think Rashawn Gary's very similar to Zadarius Smith, just without the institutional knowledge of playing this league for so long, and it's still transitioning to the role that he has. But from an athletic profile standpoint, he's big and explosive. I mean, he's very much profiles like Zadarius Smith does. So, yeah, I think he's done some of that. He hasn't been full time, but he's had his hand in the ground and played kind of some of your wide techs from a defensive end spot, and he stood up and played outside linebacker too. So I think that'll continue.
Mm-hmm. Andrew suggests that maybe Tremont Williams. He just says Tremont. I'm assuming he means Tremont Williams being someone who could guard George Kittle as sort of that slot corner guy. Would he be an option?
Maybe. I mean, Tremont's not slow. Okay, I don't want to like. I'm not calling Tremont Williams slow. He's played very well. I mean, for the fact that he's 36, he's played out of this world. I just don't see him matching up with George Kittle. I don't see a lot of people matching up with George Kittle. Darnell Savage Jr. has the 4.3 speed, so that's where from a speed standpoint I can see it. I would almost think Adrian Amos would be more likely than Tremont Williams, but I really don't know. That's just a guess.
Mm-hmm. Francesco wants to know if we have any Raven Green related news.
Nope.
No, he's still on IR. I think he even might still be in a boot.
He's probably probably not coming back this season. He's not coming back this season. Yeah. It's one of the two. It's somewhere in between. Don't expect him to come back.
All right. Well, Ryan, it comes the time where we must make our predictions. We already made our predictions, and those will be up, I believe, tomorrow over on PackersNews.com. So if you're curious, want to know who everybody picked on our staff, go over and check it out. But two of the staff members are standing right here, so we might as well share with you guys. Who's going first here, Ryan?
Let them decide. Who goes first, people?
My phone just went black, so let's see.
Don't let them decide then. That's fine.
I can go. I'll go.
You go first.
I'll go, especially because my phone's acting up now and my hands are getting
cold.
cold.
Really bad time.
So okay, yeah, predictions. So listen, this was tough for me. I don't like making predictions. If I
no
knew,
one likes it. It's kind of like eating
I just have
your
to preface
vegetables.
this. If I knew who was going to win, truly, I would not be here and I would not be doing this job, and I'd be making a lot of money.
Las Vegas.
Yes, that I would be
not
there.
Money.
So take everything we say with a grain of salt. There are a lot of factors to consider in this game. There's a lot that's working in the Packers' favor. They had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. They've got a mostly healthy roster, which is huge at this point in the season. But they're also going up against a San Francisco team with a stellar defense and an offense that has abused areas that the Packers defense has struggled with this season. And if a lot of their guys that were limited in practice yesterday, that have been on the injury report, if those guys are healthy, like George Kittle, and they're available for the game on Sunday in San Francisco, I am going with the 49ers. This is the first time I've picked against the Packers this season.
Didn't you pick the Eagles?
No, I didn't pick the Eagles.
I thought you picked the Eagles.
I have not. I don't think I've picked against the. Oh, maybe I did. I don't know. But
I'm pretty sure you picked the Eagles.
Since I have been doing my formal predictions on the website, I have not picked against the Packers, but I'm picking against them today. So that's what I have. I have 30-27 49ers.
So I don't think that the Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan shootout is really going to materialize. I might be the only one that thinks that, but I think this is a game that's much more about the defenses. And when you look at the defenses, these are two defenses that both can win in January. I think the Packers, obviously, yards per game and even points per game, they're slipping. They have slipped in yards. They are slipping in points. But there's enough game changers on this defense that they can win in January. The reality, though, that 49ers defense is better. And not just better at home, which it is, but it's just better. I mean, it might be the best defense in the NFL. It's certainly top 5. So that, to me, is the big gap. I think the Packers are going to stay in this. I think that they can turn over. Jimmy Garoppolo's got 10 picks in 10 games this year. And I'm picking the 49ers 23-19. Sloppy, a lot of field goals on both sides, a lot of defensive play. I don't love the pick because there's definitely a path to victory for the Packers. I mean, those 2 weeks that they've watched the 49ers play twice, 2 games since they last played against the Panthers here at Lambeau Field. That's a huge advantage. Late in the season especially, it is a huge advantage. So I could see the Packers coming out really hot, really refreshed, rejuvenated, re-energized, and having a lot of unscouted stuff and really jumping on the 49ers. I could see that. And the reality is that if that happens, 16-0, they're not the Arizona Cardinals. If they go up 16-0, they'll win. I stick to the 49ers got the best defense. They probably want to have George Kittle. I don't know who covers George Kittle. That could be a difference maker. I think it's going to be a really close game, but I'll take the 49ers 23-19.
All right, it's going to be tough. I agree with you. I think it'll be a really interesting defensive game, just like the 49ers Seattle game. I thought that was a really entertaining game in terms of the defense and watching those two teams play. So, yes, that's that. I think Natashin has this idea that we work for the Packers because he's asking where our loyalty is. We don't have any loyalty to the Packers.
My loyalty is I hope I get the pick right, because if I get enough of these picks right, maybe I can move to Las Vegas. No, that's not true.
No, we do not work for the Packers. We are not employed by the team. We can say what we want. That's like we said. That's not to say the Packers aren't coming in there with any sort of advantage or any sort of competitiveness. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just trying to tell you what I think is going to happen while knowing that I really have no idea because they have to go play the game and you just can't predict these things. But that's what I think will happen. I think it's going to be a close game. If it was here at Lambeau Field in the cold, I'd probably be enticed to pick the Packers, especially with those 2 weeks to prepare. So, home field is going to be pretty important in this. The West Coast trip and all that. It's a lot of factors going for the 49ers.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you're checking out PackersNews.com for all of your Packers coverage. On Sunday, all the gang, everybody is going to be out in San Francisco, so we will be doing our normal pregame, postgame live streams with you guys. So make sure you come back on game day. We'll have you covered for everything, really. We'll have lots of news for you on game day. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media channels as well.